Good morning, welcome back to the 120th. Today we're going to be talking about medium format cameras and which medium format cameras are the best for traveling. So if you're doing international travel, which medium format cameras should you be looking at or should you be thinking about for taking with you? The reason that I'm making this now is because I've had a bit of a last minute business trip come up. And I'm going to be flying out in 2 days' time out to South Africa, and we'll then be spending 3 weeks moving around South Africa, Botswana and Namibia. Hopefully I'll get a few spare minutes in amongst the crazy packed schedule to take some photos and record some videos, and I will hopefully be seeing some relatively spectacular places, or certainly things worthy of some photographs, I would hope. Last time I travelled, as you guys saw, I took with me the Fuji GW690 Mark III. That actually wasn't a bad camera to travel with. The Mark III has more plastic parts than the Mark I and the Mark II, which a lot of people don't like, but it does of course make it lighter. Shape-wise, it's a little difficult to pack around, but I managed to do it with my standard camera bags. If I had the option now and still had that camera, then I might consider taking it with me this time. But I don't. So let's start working through the options of what cameras I have available to me and what is going to be the most suitable for this trip. Key things I'm going to be looking at here are size, weight, quality of course, and reliability. Really important one, because there's no point in me taking a camera all the way out there and being out there for 3 weeks and then finding on day 2 that it's broken and isn't going to work again and having to cart it around with me. So let's start with a camera that I'm definitely not taking with me. So here we have a new camera to me actually, the Mamiya RB67. I haven't shot with it yet because there are a few things that need fixing, but it is by all accounts a fantastic camera and would no doubt do me well on my travels. However, it's big, it's huge. Look at the size of that. I can even put it next to the huge Bronica S2A, and you can see that it's actually a noticeable amount bigger than the Bronica S2A. Let's just, for my interest, pop it on the scales and see what it weighs in at. So that is 2.5 kilos or 5 pounds 7. And that's with all standard kit. That's with a 90mm f3.8 lens, standard waist level finder, standard 6/7 back. So that is a beast. Another camera that I'm absolutely not taking with me is this lump. This is a Mamiya Super 23 press camera. It is pretty, and I am really looking forward to taking that out and shooting with it. But it's heavy, and look at the size and the shape of it. That ain't fitting in any bags with any great ease. Let's pop that one on the scales and see what we got here. So that's actually with the 100mm lens. This is a 6x9 film back, and obviously this sort of speed grip handle. I don't know if that's I think most of them have that. That's actually very similar to the RB67. That is also 2.5 kilos or 5 pounds 7. So that's another lump of a camera that ain't coming with me. Not this time. Let's jump straight from there to the old faithful, my Bronica S2A. It suddenly feels quite small in my hand after those two. Let's pop that on the scale straight away and see what we're working with here. So that Bronica S2A, again in standard format with a waist level finder, a 6x6 back. It's actually got a 50mm lens, which is slightly heavier than the 75mm lens. So that actually weighs in at 2.2 kilos or 4 pounds and 13 ounces. So it is heavy, of course it is, and it's a lump, but lighter than the Mamiya Super 23 and lighter than the Mamiya RB67. There are certain reasons why I'm actually pretty keen to take this with me. I feel like it's my long-term shooting partner, but it never gets to come on the fun trips because it's just too heavy. And I feel like maybe this time I just need to bite the bullet and let it come with me. It would be fun shooting this out in Africa. Next on the list of the big berthas is this one. Now this is a Bronica SQA. So we've got the S2A and we've got the SQA. This one's actually new-ish to me. I have tested it, I have run some films through it, and it is all working well. First of all, I only have a prism finder for it, so I don't have many accessories for this. I only have this prism finder, this TTL prism finder, which doesn't work. And I have this speed grip. And obviously a standard 6x6 back. Now that little bundle together weighs in at 2.2 kilos or 4 pounds 13. So that's a heavy camera, especially in that setup. Not the easiest to pack in that kind of formation, in that form. Reliability is obviously something to consider, and this, in theory, will be more reliable than the Bronica S2A. However, the SQA was primarily manufactured in the 80s. So it's much newer, which should make it more reliable, but that does still make it almost 40 years old. And things will be going wrong, and I don't know it as well as I know my S2A. If I take a set of screwdrivers and a lens wrench, I can probably fix most things on the road. So I think I'm probably leaning towards the S2A over the SQA, and the S2A over the RB67 and the Super 23. Another one that I think is fairly unlikely to come with me is the beautiful Pentacon Six. I do like this camera. I've not spent a great deal of time with it. My major issue with it is reliability. I don't fully trust it. I've had some issues with this already and I haven't had it long. But also that it's a very awkward shape. It's not the easiest to pack. And it's fairly heavy. Let's pop it on the scales and see what we get. So that one is 1.3 kilos or 2 pounds 14. So, you know, it's actually a pretty slim and lightweight thing in comparison to the other cameras we've had out so far. But it doesn't get me excited. The thought of lugging this around Africa does not get me excited. So let's get rid of that. Moving on now to the other shape, the other shape of medium format cameras, the TLRs. This one is a Minolta Autocord CDS, built-in light meter, which works, in fact. It's a definite consideration. The great thing about TLRs is the shape of them. They are essentially a kind of elongated cube, which usually fit pretty perfectly in your camera bag into the square spaces for lenses. So that's where I've carried them before. I've had issues with this one. I've had issues with the film transport system, so the wind-on is not 100% on it. So I would be nervous about taking this away for 3 weeks and expecting it to function for the whole time. Also, I'm a bit down on the TLRs at the moment. I haven't really been enjoying them the last couple of times I've taken them out. So it's not kind of top of my list. Size and shape is fine, is good. Let's pop it on the scales just out of curiosity. So that's 1.1 kilos, 2 pounds 8. So it's lighter again than the Pentacon 6 and getting down towards half the weight of the S2A and the other big Berthas that we had out to start with. Definite positives and reasons why you might want to take that with you. I'm not going to take it with me because I'm not excited about shooting a TLR around Africa in these stunning places that I'm going to be visiting, and I don't 100% trust this one. So we're not going with the Minolta Autocord. Now, having just said I am down on the TLRs, I did think it was worth bringing out another TLR. This one, a Lubitel 166B. And the reason I get this out is because it's small, very small, lightweight, shoots 120, medium format, mostly plastic. So like I say, keeps the weight down. Let's have a look. So that one is 600 grams, 1 pound 4, so very light in comparison to the other cameras we've been looking at. Reason I'm not going to take this is because the places that I'm going to are likely to be visually stunning. They're going to be visually arresting. I don't really want, what the Lubitel creates and what some of the sort of cheaper cameras create is that lomography style, that lomography look, which I think is great for adding something to an image that doesn't have much else. But I would find it frustrating knowing that I was going to get those kind of lomo, sort of slightly tainted, slightly sort of stylized shots of places that I expect I will want to be rendered accurately. So I'm going to dodge that for those two reasons. Now, here's a question. This is the Kodak Brownie Flash B that I had with me on the last video that I put up, and which was a surprise. I said in that last video, and I've said it probably a couple of times now, that I can be a bit harsh on box cameras. Some of these box cameras can create amazing pictures. Big negative for this one though, of course, is that it's 620 film, which means that I would have to either do a bit of a session on re-rolling or trim the spools, as someone mentioned on the comments to that last video. It's a faff. It's a faff that I suspect I don't want. So let's move on from that one. This is where we go next. This is a Zeiss Icon Netar 51716. They have a good reputation. It is a 120 camera. It's a folder, of course. So there we go. Very small, very compact. This one has a 75mm f6.3 lens on it. Let's pop it on the scales and see what we're talking about. 530 grams, 1 pound 2. So very lightweight, very portable. This particular model is a very basic one. There's no rangefinder. So I probably would have to do some testing of this before. I've not shot this camera before. I would want to test it. It's going to be shooting 6x6 frames. I'm not aware of there being anything wrong with it, but I have not tested it, so I suspect that's a possibility. I think that's something to consider. What I'm thinking at the moment is maybe I'll take two cameras. Maybe I'll take one of the big ones and a more portable one, and I'll leave the big one with, you know, kind of my main luggage when we're out and about, and just carry this one with me. And then on days when I have more time, I'll be able to go for longer walks with the big one, properly packed in a bag and you know, easier to carry. So it's a possibility. Zeiss Icon Netar. Let's pop that over here. Moving on to some other potential folders. This one is an ADOX Golf. So we've got a 75mm 6.3 lens again shooting 6x6 frames. Similar in features to the Zeiss Icon Netar, but I suspect the quality will possibly be slightly better with the Netar. That is super lightweight though, 1.1 pounds, under 500 grams. So that is, it would save me a lot of weight. So that's something to consider, ADOX Golf. And the last folder I'm going to show you today is actually one that has appeared on the channel before, a long time ago. And that is there we go, a Nixon Nixette, or Gerlach Nixette. I'm not sure though that the quality of the images, I haven't shot the Netar, but I doubt it's going to beat it. So I think the thing to do, I think I'm going to take the Bronica S2A, take it on a special trip. It's served me well, it's worked hard, it deserves an outing. So I think I'll probably take that despite its weight, but I might also take with me something a bit more portable in the Zeiss Icon Netar. So there we go, lots to consider, lots to think about when deciding what you're going to take with you for international travel. I have my films ready as usual. I've done what I always do, and I take them all out of the boxes and leave them just in the wrapping, and then stuff them in another bag. And I've gone out and bought some Ilford Delta 3200, just so that I can legitimately tell the people at the scanning, you know, the security guys, that there's 3200 ISO film in there, so they can't scan that bag. But then I've also taken them out of the box, so it won't be very easy to find the 3200 ISO films, but they are there if they look for them. Okay, so the next time you see me, I will be in Johannesburg. I'll try and do some filming in each location that I go to. I'll take you with me on my short African adventures. All right then. See you in Africa.